On this edition of Native Report, we visit a youth summer camp and learn about the game of lacrosse.
Until you give us the issues, what the problems are.
We attend a Department of Veterans Affairs consultation session.
Our bodies are cellular mongrels.
And we interview noted author Heid Erdrich about her latest book. We also learn something new about Indian country and hear from our elders on this Native Report.
Production of Native Report is made possible by grants from the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux Community, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, and the Blandin Foundation.
We're proud of our young people when they graduate.
Hi, welcome to Native Report. I'm Stacy Thunder. Lacrosse is a team sport that was invented by our Native ancestors hundreds of years ago. And in recent years, it has grown in popularity. On the Fond du Lac Reservation in northern Minnesota, a summer camp teaches young people the basics of the game and skills that will stay with them for life.
Right around me. Everybody come on in.
On this summer day, rain fell from a gray sky as Lacrosse for Life camp participants are preparing for an afternoon scrimmage.
I've worked with the tribes throughout Minnesota and Wisconsin for the last 5.5 years, and I was privileged enough to be in a lot of backdoor meetings with tribal leadership, and the question kept coming up. How do we prevent our kids from getting into gangs? How do we prevent our kids from getting on the drugs out there and prescription drugs? How do we get our kids to stay focused on our culture and our heritage? And I didn't have an answer years ago when I was the president of the Native American Law Enforcement Summit. We used to hold, before I was the president, we used to hold summer camps, educational summer camps. My partner Bill Blake, who had started the program some 5 or 6 years ago, passed away 3 years ago. And with his passing, we also lost that camp because of budgetary cutbacks from the backpack tutors who were the teachers that we were utilizing. So I thought there's got to be something that we can do to get these kids active in the summer, and there's got to be something we can do to get them taking pride in themselves, their culture, and their heritage. And I guess you could say a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. And somehow the creator helped me, and I came up with the idea of bringing lacrosse back to the states, or back to the great tribes of Minnesota and Wisconsin.
How we got involved was Chairwoman Diver sending me an email saying, hey, there's something going on here, maybe you might want to get involved, give them a call. And what we ended up doing, got his ideas, basically what they pitched to the tribal councils up there, and it was a pretty good fit with what me and Josh Baker were talking about at the Brookson Community Center. So it just spent 6 months of developing a sports program, or starting off with a camp. So that's how we got involved, was just the email from the chair, hey, don't pass up this opportunity, which I'm glad we didn't. We were very fortunate to get the University of Minnesota involved this year. They agreed. Actually, we signed a memo of agreement here in April for a 5-year commitment from the university to donate youth lodging at the Kokay Forestry Center for the next 5 years. So right now, the Lax for Life program we have another 4 years, 4 summers of planning. This year, the Minnesota Army National Guard, seen what we did last year. Minnesota Sworn pitched the idea to them last year, and they paid for the entire camp this year. The best thing about it is that we're keeping the costs away from the kids. We know that the kids that we're servicing here, they don't have a lot of money. Their families don't have a lot, so we're able to continue to offer a free camp to these kids.
The camp has 2 components. One is learning about the game and is literally hands-on, and the other focuses on classroom-type instruction.
Problem solving is breaking free from those old habits and identifying new ways to solve problems.
Some of the kids are, been here all 3 years. Some are real new to the game, so we go over the basics of the game and then kind of move into some of the more skilled things, and then by the end of the 4 days we'll get into an actual game. So we kind of just give them some skills and some tutelage on you know, basic skills. You know, this is the highlight of my summer coming up to this camp. You know, you get kids coming from 7 different reservations, and they all come down and represent one Fond du Lac nation here, and just to see these kids, you know, come out of their shells a little bit and have fun. That's what it's all about. It's you know, it's a great camp, and just love being a part of it.
It's been a life-changing experience. Seeing kids from 7 different communities come together and you know, turn into one big family, and to see them. Some kids have never played lacrosse before, and now they're out here passing and catching, shooting on the net and scoring goals and scrimmages and stuff. So to see the development of the kids and, you know, the comfort level of the kids go through the roof is what's been the best for me.
We split them up in 2 groups. Group A is on the field, Group B is in there talking about diabetes or tobacco cessation or physical fitness. We just had a suicide here. A 22-year-old committed suicide about 2 weeks ago. In the area I grew up, and that was one of our main discussions. It was the first topic this year, because it's not just our community that has these issues. It's all of our communities, and it's a good thing that these kids are talking about it, because they are talking about it. Yeah, I had an aunt that committed suicide. Yeah, I had my best friend commit suicide, and you can see the connections these guys are making through those classroom sessions.
The co-ed camp also caters to those who may have aged out of the program. These past participants have the opportunity to return as mentors to the younger ones.
The kids that aged out of the program from 2 years ago, from last year, we're bringing them back as junior staffers to keep them involved. And we have them doing a lot of the assisting with the coaching staff, assisting with me. Hey, can you guys go and talk to this kid? He's not getting involved, and we're seeing the value of those kids that were here the first year, the second year, and aged out of the program. We're seeing that those community leaders coming back and saying, hey, come on, I'll help you.
Last year was my first year, was my only year of eligibility left for the camp. So Brian, our bear, brought me back as a junior counselor this year to help out, just to be a role model to the kids, a younger role model. Teach them what I know and to advance myself. My stuff I want to take back to the res, teach the younger generation, because I volunteer at a Boys and Girls Club back home a lot. We're starting lacrosse there. We started last year with lacrosse over there. Got the kids some beginner sticks and stuff like that. Gonna get them more involved, teach them more about the sport.
1, 2, 3, Life for Life!
Lacrosse for Life, which received recognition by First Lady Michelle Obama, offers these young people, some from as far away as Nevada, a chance to experience a sport they might not otherwise play.
Lacrosse hasn't been played in Minnesota for a number of years, with the exception of Prairie Island, and I liken it to a fire that was smoldering, and now we're trying to fan it back and get the flames back and bring life back into the game.
It's kind of a struggle to get Indian communities to come out of their comfort zones, their home communities. But what I see here, our numbers doubled from the first year. We had, 27 kids. This year we have 57 kids total, and representing, 8 reservations. So the program is growing, and it's amazing to watch these kids grow up and actually come back and take on that leadership role. That to me tells me that this program, they're getting something from the program.
Did you know lacrosse was developed by Native Americans as early as 1100 AD? Jesuit priests documented that Indian tribes were playing the game in the 1600s. In the traditional game played by Canadian First Nations, each team consisted of about 100 to 1,000 men playing on an enormous field. The games lasted from sunrise to sunset, and sometimes for 2 or 3 days straight. During the 20th century in the United States, lacrosse was a regional sport around the East Coast. Today, lacrosse is the fastest growing sport in the Midwestern U.S. In field lacrosse, there are 10 players on each team, 3 attackers, 3 midfielders, 3 defenders, and a goalie. The field is 110 yards long and 60 yards wide, with goals that are 6 feet long and 6 feet wide. Another form of lacrosse is played on a hockey rink with 6 players on each team. For Native Americans, the game played a role in the spiritual life of tribes, and those who played did so in the role of warriors. Lacrosse was sometimes referred to by Indian tribes as the Creator's game.
Next, many Native American and Alaskan Native veterans issues were discussed at the National Congress of American Indians Mid-Year Conference. A consultation session was held, seeking input to enhance the delivery of services for those who have served and are currently serving in the armed forces.
On this Sunday morning in Lincoln, Nebraska, the health and well-being of the nation's 200,000 Native American and Alaskan Native veterans is the topic of discussion between tribal leaders and government officials.
You know, the tribal consultations with the VA is extremely important, as mandated by President Obama and signed into mandate by Secretary Eric Shinseki January of 2011. And we've hired on our director, Stephanie Birdwell, and what we're doing is conducting these consultations and meeting with tribal leaders, talking to tribal leaders and veterans to become more aware of issues of concern and how we can best implement change on tribal lands to help create a level playing field. And consultation does that. So what we need to do is find out how best to outreach, because a lot of these places, of course, are rural, hard to get at. So how do we take the VA into rural country to help our Native veterans file for the benefits they've earned? As we all know, Native American veterans serve at a higher percentage rate than any other group of people, and yet they have the lowest number of claims that have been filed. So 65% total of my veterans have not filed for benefits. So our challenge is to outreach, work with tribal leaders, find out the needs for housing, education, business development, economic development, and create a level playing field.
One issue raised in the morning-long session was what more could be done to improve Native veterans' access to medical and social services.
What branch of the service were you in, Doctor?
I served in the U.S. Army from 68 to 75, and I served in Vietnam in 1969, 1970 with the Delta Troop, 2nd 17th Cav, 101st Airborne Division. The major issue is a health issue, because most reservations, such as in Nevada, North and South Dakota, where I'm from, Montana, the distances to VA hospitals is over 600 miles round trip. Veterans do not go to VA hospitals. They go to IHS hospitals, the Indian Health Service, but the Indian Health Service does not know how to take care of veteran health issues, such as PTSD, Agent Orange, and other serious health issues.
Another issue is the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder.
I went in the service in 1970, later part of 1970. 71, I went for my first time in Vietnam. I ended up with the 173rd Airborne, later on with the 75th Ranger Regiment.
A lot of guys in your unit got killed or wounded in Vietnam, but a lot of them got hurt when they came back, and could you tell us a little about that?
I served with a total of probably maybe 27 guys. 2 were killed and about 7 wounded. So that meant that 20 of us came back alive. Well, 19 of them are now all gone. I think they didn't understand what PTSD, I don't think we understood what was wrong. And a lot of them, they said was accidents or something, but you just know in your heart that it wasn't. I never understood what this PTSD was until probably about 9 years after I got out, and even then I denied it. I think the American Indians are put with this stigma of being a warrior and being battled and all this and being able to do all that stuff, and it doesn't bother us. We're human. We suffer the same thing as everybody. And I think it's more so because a lot of tribes are so isolated, and a lot of go back to those reservations and they don't have that health care. And so therefore there's a lot of alcoholism, suicides, all these problems are right there.
The healthcare system for Native veterans is unique, and it is through these consultations that officials are reminded that their duty is to provide the best health care possible.
We'll be hosting consultation during the National Indian Health Board meeting in Denver. In the past, VA has maybe not been as effective in reaching this population as they should be. And the efforts of our office, I always like to say we don't do health care, we don't do benefits, and we don't do cemeteries, but we work very closely with our colleagues within VA who do that work. And we work very hard to engage tribes, understand what the challenges are, and that's really what this consultation is about. I had an elder in Alaska about a month ago told me that, you know, our warriors had very strong medicine with them when they served in conflicts and in the war, but what happened to them when they got home that really sometimes took them from us. As an agency, once we become part of the landscape of tribal communities, I always say our goal is that tribal leaders and veterans and families will know who we are, how to get to us, and what we have to offer. And I think once we've achieved that, I think we will have achieved what our mission is, to ensure that veterans receive the benefits and opportunities that they have earned through their service.
And this is the resiliency that we have as Native women. You know, it's part of our culture to cope and manage, to continue in grief. Grief is one of many emotions that we know how to be a part of, you know, embrace grief. A loss is part of our culture. So we've had many losses, and there are ways to get into and get beyond your grieving, and that's through ceremony. And so it's one thing that many Native communities still have is ceremonies to help you with whatever losses that you have. So you go through this process, you set it aside, and you keep moving on. And I think that's really a part of our strength as Native people. You know, if we were wallowed in our grief, in our sadness, we wouldn't be where we are. And this is thanks to our cultural beliefs and ceremonies that we can transcend that.
Award-winning author Heid Erdrich has a new book out titled Cell Traffic: New and Selected Poems. It reflects her continuing concerns with the tensions between science and tradition and spirit and body.
Heid Erdrich's poetry often explores themes of indigenous culture, mothering, and the natural world around us. On a recent afternoon, co-host Tad Johnson had the privilege to sit down with Heid and ask several questions about her latest collection of poetry.
Your new book is Cell Traffic, and just came out recently. It's new and selected poems, so tell us a little about the new ones and the selected ones.
I always wondered what a new and selected book of poetry was, and I was really happy when the University of Arizona Press asked me to work with them on a new and selected, and I thought that someone, you know, some committee would choose my best work and it would be a greatest hit sort of album, but in fact it was really just me and the editor, and we went through my first 3 books and we looked for poems that fit with my new book, the 4th book, which is the beginning of this book, Cell Traffic, and we looked for connections between poems, through lines, things that have obsessed me since I first started publishing my poetry, and we pulled those pieces out, linked them together with the new book of poems, Cell Traffic. And in addition, we took some uncollected works that I had published in various magazines but had never put into a book.
So when I picked up this book, and it was called Cell Traffic, I assumed it was a book about cell phone calls, and then I looked at the poems, and there's a lot about mitochondria, a couple about DNA, so, and then read the poems, and clearly this is more of an intersection of biology and poetry. Can you talk about where science and poetry meet here?
I got the idea for the title, Cell Traffic, when my sister, who's a pediatrician, Heid Erdrich, sent me an article from a doctor that she had been listening to in a lecture at a conference, and the title of the article was Maternal Fetal Stem Cell Traffic. And stem cells were, that was sort of an interest to the general public at that time. It was probably 2008, 2009. And at the beginning of the book, I put in 3 epigraphs, and they kind of explain, I think, how I was trying to catch this metaphor. And the first one is from Walt Whitman, and he says, "For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you." So he was expressing some kind of transcendentalism, some sort of idea that we never die and that the atoms recycle. But then in 2003, a New Scientist article written by Claire Ainsworth said, "In fact, some researchers now think that most of us, if not all, are chimeras of one sort or another, far from being purebred individuals and composed of a single genetic cell line. Our bodies are cellular mongrels, teeming with cells from our mothers, maybe even from grandparents and siblings." And so that's a description of what cell traffic is. It's the trafficking of cells between the maternal body, your mother's body, and the fetal body, your body. I mean, to me, it's fascinating. And what it said to me was that Ojibwe concept, Indinawea Magandidok, all our relations, we are all related.
And then after I get to understanding that this was about DNA and cells, the cover art made a little more, see if I get this right, it's a painting of Ojibwe beadwork, or some type of beadwork, clearly indigenous beadwork, and but it also, to me, looks like DNA. Is that what you had in mind?
It's a painting by Deani Reynolds Whitehawk, and she's a painter who lives in St. Paul. It's a painting of quill work, and it looks so real when you see it that people sometimes try and pick up the quills off her painting, off her canvas. She's also a quill worker, so she knows the quill, the porcupine quill, really well, and made this pattern. And yeah, it's the title is Continuity, the title of her painting. So I think she was speaking about the continuity of blood when she was producing this. But to me, it looks a little bit like what we think of as DNA.
Could you read one of your DNA poems for us?
This one's called DNA Tribes. The red-eyed vireo calls, "Here I am, where are you?" Like some bizarre biomimic, web ads pop up while I email, asking, "Native American DNA, what tribe are you?" Alls I need to do is swab and mail away cells my ancestors took millennia to perfect. And who owns them then? "Here I am, where are you?" the red-eyed vireo calls, misleading us to relocate, following the flight away from nestlings tight in twigs to get us lost in a bog, asking all along if we even know our own locale. "Here I am, where are you? Native American DNA, what tribe are you?" As if that could fool us, make us forget the nesting grounds, and the red eye cast ever backward to the place always known as home.
There seems to be a class of people that will read history and will read biographies, but won't read poetry and won't read fiction. and maybe can you make a case for poetry, what it does for, as far as expanding people's horizons with regard to thinking or looking at the world?
Poetry is really helpful and useful today because it's compact. People can look at it. If it's the type of poetry that opens a discussion or provides a beautiful image, it's like a lot of what we love today, the short video, the YouTube clip, the you know, the brief bit of music you get to hear, you know, on the radio. And I think that maybe it fits people's lives and they're better than they know it. So when they come to a poet or a poem because they're interested in the subject or they like the cover of the book or whatever, once they find the poet that they like, I think it opens up more for them than they expect. Yeah, but that said, I am not much of a fiction reader. I love plays. I would read a play probably before I would read a novel.
Well, thanks for doing this, Heid.
For more information about Native Report or the stories we've covered, look for us at nativereport.org and Facebook. Thank you for spending this time with your friends and neighbors in Indian Country. I'm Stacy Thunder. See you next time on Native Report.
Stacy Thunder is a member of and legal counsel for the Red Lake Nation, and Tad Johnson is a member of the Boys Fort Band of Chippewa and is chair for the American Indian Studies Department on the campus of the University of Minnesota Duluth. Production of Native Report is made possible by grants from the Shakopee-Mdewakanton Sioux Community, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe, and the Blandin Foundation.